The man event is still recovering from Derby Day, but don't you worry. We are bringing our A game. It is still intact. Your hosts for the next hour, Pooh Bear, the Chief, I am B-Love. What is on tap? Well, I am glad that you've asked. The NFL starts Thursday. Our upcoming short, Pythons in Your House, and Pooh Bear has some things to say and so much more. Welcome to the last Sunday without NFL football. Get ramped up and ready for Monday morning with us. This is the man event. Well, I was going to say, what a surprise with the new intro, Pooh Bear. Nice job.
Yeah, I didn't tell you guys about that. I made that.
No, I missed most of it with my wardrobe change.
Oh,
So the Derby was yesterday. We had a fantastic time.
Yes.
Gentlemen, what was your favorite part?
My favorite part was Lisa cleaning Pooh Bear out of all his money, especially with that final race. She picked. I mean, I don't know how she picked that horse. Just out of nowhere, she the one that no one else picks, and ta-da!
Yeah.
Well, I really, really wanted Ascension before he had a flip out on whatever he was.
That horse name wasn't Ascension. That was the 10 horse, but I don't remember what it was. It wasn't Ascension. Was it?
No, it's something about stepping or something like that. I forget.
You know what? It's here nor there.
It's a scratch.
That horse, number 10, the brown one. That was gonna be my horse. I had him on the sheet. Had him on the sheet. I liked his upbringing. I liked the jockey. I was ready to roll. I put it all in,
Mm-hmm.
and then he goes and has the freak out incident. The what do you want to call it?
It broke the guy's arm.
That broke the guy's arm.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
but that
that was crazy.
Large animal can do.
Hey, you don't put your money against what's that trainer's name? Bob Baffert. Bob Baffert. That's him. You do not put your money against that guy, man. I mean,
update. That was his horse.
Yeah, and he had two horses. He had two horses. Yeah,
right. So I mean, I was going with it. I was there, man. I knew that he was the winner or he was the guy. Hey.
So lock the door in the studio.
What's up, buddy? Listen, so my favorite part of Derby Day yesterday was when the Chief, near the end of the party, comes rolling out of the bathroom wearing that robe he has on and an ascot and pretty much nothing else.
By the way, the robe was 15 cents at a thrift store.
I think I advertised it as 15 cents, but I think the actual price was 50 cents, just for full disclosure.
So, fair enough.
There you go.
Quite a deal. It's almost like a smoker's jacket type robe there, but I got a couple of pictures of the Chief in his attire yesterday. His after party attire.
His after party.
And we'll be posting that on our Facebook page and Instagram. I'll tell you what, right after this, following this show, if you want to see that, check out Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, my blog.
I'm looking forward to it.
So I vlogged for the first time yesterday, specifically for the Kentucky Derby. No idea if it's gonna. I mean, so far it looks okay, but I'm gonna put it out there. I'm in the middle of editing it. Hopefully, it'll be done by this evening, and then we'll have a good idea of what it's like to hang out with us for Derby Day.
Yeah, it was a good time. Good time for sure. Hey, did anybody have a couple of mint juleps yesterday?
I think I had exactly 2. Since you said a couple.
The chief was like, "What's a mint julep?"
What's a mint julep? No.
The chief had peppermint patties. That's what it was. You had peppermint patties. So, all right. So another successful Derby day. Hey, by the way, if you haven't had an opportunity to see our Derby day short yet, it is the most recent upload on the YouTube channel. So go check that out. It's a pretty cool inside look as to some things that we do to prepare for the Derby, and you'll get to see exactly where this robe that the chief is wearing came from.
Hey, big news. We get to do Derby Day again in 8 months.
Nice.
We do not have to wait a full year for it this time.
We don't have to wait a full year. That's awesome.
Nope.
I love it.
That's awesome.
I'm going to take my stuff back to the lighthouse and return
it.
Yeah, I'm just going to give it back to him and then maybe rebuy it again. Who knows?
Yeah.
Here's hoping that nothing that I bought this year fits next year.
Okay.
Because I got smaller.
Okay.
Because you got
I got smaller. Yeah.
All right.
So listen, we got a lot of football on tap, but before we get into that, there's some crazy stuff going on out there.
Hey, I want to call bingo. Right now on my 2020 card. Okay, because I've got pandemic, murder hornets, dueling tornadoes, dueling hurricanes, fire tornadoes, and now fighting snakes. Fighting snakes in Australia. Did you see that story?
No, you're gonna have to share it with us.
Oh my gosh, dude! So this guy is in. I don't know what you think about when you think about Australia, but this is in Brisbane, Australia. I have been to Brisbane,
Crocodile
Australia.
Dundee, by the way.
Yeah, okay.
I know Crocodile Dundee.
Brisbane, Australia is a as modern city as any in the United States, and probably more modern than most. It's actually a really cool place. This guy he's in his house and he hears a crash coming from his kitchen. So he goes to check his kitchen out, and there are not one but 2 9-foot pythons that have fallen through the ceiling, and they are wrestling. They're like all entangled and fighting, with themselves there. So he leaves, runs, calls. I'm not sure who to even call for help for python help. I'm gonna tell you, don't call the fire department.
Nope.
Don't call me. So he's got it, and these things weigh. They said they weighed about 90 pounds a piece. I guess 10 pounds per foot, maybe for a python. So guy comes and he clears them out. Turns out, okay, they are fighting over. These are 2 males. They are fighting over a female. So if I do my math correctly, that means he had 3
snakes,
pythons living in his attic.
At minimum.
Minimum, yeah. Let's just say
how does that happen?
Fight.
How does that happen?
Only in Australia.
How does that happen? How do you have 2 90-foot or 9-foot pythons in your house and you don't know about it?
What are they eating? What do you got to feed? He's not feeding them. He didn't know they were there. So what are they raiding, or what else does he have living in his attic?
Now, we don't know that they were living there. They were there. Right, so they could have fallen out of a tree, come down a vent pipe or something, ended up there.
Okay.
Oh wow, Pooh Bear's got conspiracy theories going on.
Again.
And I say this because I have some experience with some snakes in a close proximity to my house during mating season. So I'm thinking this may have been mating season.
You're gonna have to share that story.
Yeah.
So you can't leave us. You can't leave us there.
No problem.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
This was about 10 years ago at my old house, and we had a patio that had they had 2 screen doors. This was a screened-in patio, and for whatever reason, my daughter was home alone, and she called me scared, saying, "Dad, there's snakes on the patio. You need to come home right away." I'm like, I was at work. I'm like, snakes on that doesn't make any sense, and I'm thinking it's a child. She doesn't know what there's probably a worm on the snakes on the patio somewhere, and she's freaking out.
Yeah.
So I get home and open the blinds, and we got a sliding glass door. Sure enough, there's 6 snakes on my patio.
What?
Wow.
6 of them. 2 of them are in the corner doing the funky thing. And there's 4 or 5. There was 4 watching. And so I'm like,
they're waiting their turn.
Now these were black garter snakes, right? So nothing harmful, right? Quite innocent, So I go out and I see my neighbor's got like a pillowcase, and he's got a few snakes in there also. So I'm thinking, this guy's collecting snakes and he let them go, and now they're on my patio, and I got to deal with them. Come to find out, no, he was chasing. They was collecting them because they were all over the place. So what had happened was, it was mating season, and some of the females must have come up close to our homes and started doing whatever pheromones or whatever they do to attract the males. They were chasing after the females. So I got on the patio with a shovel, was trying to scoop them off of the patio into the yard so they can go back to the pond or whatever. And I got most of them off. The female, she would not leave the corner. She was there. She was hissing at me and snapping at the shovel. Anyway, so
she stayed her neck at my house.
I'm not going to kill a black snake. That's
dead.
No, like they eat the bad stuff. Anyway, so I got them gone. So I got most of them gone. I left the door open so she could finally leave. She did. But you could see they're in the yard out. My old house had like a hill going down to a pond. And you could see the snake heads. They were all up in the grass. Like it was insane. It was insane scenario. And that's when I learned all about mating season and what they were looking for. And I had to research.
I'd have got my lawnmower out. We'd have taken care of that.
No, man, those are good for the environment. They eat the mice.
It's fun to get out there with a BB gun and see how many of them you could pick off.
Nah, not those guys. Now, if they were venomous, absolutely, they wouldn't have stood a chance. That would have been in game. All 6 of them on the patio.
Listen, I gotta mention something real quick. There was something at the Derby party yesterday.
I didn't do it.
That our audience is familiar with. And I've got to ask, how was the remake of the bourbon gooey butter cake?
Oh, that made the vlog. I just
Can we not leave the cake alone? Oh my gosh, are we going over cake day again? Okay, so you know what? I mean, this just absolutely, solidifies your loss on cake day, because it wasn't the recipe. The recipe, when executed correctly, was delicious. It was a great cake. That was a good cake. That means that you guys wrecked it on cake day. That was the whole problem. It was the cooks, So
level of difficulty. Mike,
didn't execute. Did not execute. You guys jumped off the deep end and went too deep, like Pooh Bear off the boat with an anchor. Dude, that happened. That true story. We're pulling up to the beach. He tells me, he says, "How deep is it?" I look on the depth finder. It says it's like 4 feet, but I forgot that, 4 feet is from the keel of the boat, which sits about another 3 feet into the water. Pooh Bear standing at 6'8". He's like, "All right, I got this, hold on here." He jumps off the boat with the anchor and disappears. I mean, he's gone. I was like, hope he lets go. Hope he lets go. Yeah.
Swim.
Or the chain's not wrapped around his ankle or something like that.
Oh, man.
Good. It was good.
Yeah. Well,
he went down like your cake did.
Yeah. So man, that's not good, man. Python, you need to fire your pest control guy, by the way.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure pesticides keep snakes away.
Listen, as far as I'm concerned, the pest control guy, he's in charge of all pests.
Especially pythons. Those are like tree-born animals, I believe.
You're fired.
Pythons? I thought they lived in the water. Unless anacondas live in the water. Python? No, the pythons live in the they're like invading the Everglades and stuff.
But they're invasive. Yeah. They're invasive in the Everglades. Yeah, they don't belong there.
Maybe it's the boa constrictors that are tree loving snake.
I don't know.
I'm gonna do a little research here real quick.
Okay. So listen, any exciting news happened this week that piqued your interest?
I got a haircut. Anybody needs to know?
You got to be careful going to beauty salons, apparently.
Well,
Oh my gosh.
There's rumors about that.
Nancy Pelosi, full on busted, hypocrite, whatever you want to call it, man. I'll tell you. So I was watching a little news this morning, doing some homework for the show, and they have a hair salon owner and manager from San Francisco, just blocks away from where Nancy Pelosi was getting. First of all, I'm not hating on Nancy for going to get her hair done and getting her made. Look, if the barn door needs painting, paint it. Okay,
goodness gracious, yes, that one needs some spackle.
Put some extra,
whatever. If we gotta see it, let's go ahead and do the best that we can with it. But here's the thing: she's standing up there next to Joe Biden. We're gonna wear masks in public. It's gonna be mandatory for everybody. We're gonna take away your civil. Well, they don't actually say that, but that's what's happening here. Okay,
you can't have debates because it's unsafe.
Yeah. Well, that's the okay. In San Francisco, you can't even go into a salon. They have to do it on the sidewalk. They got you set up on the sidewalk, and here goes Nancy Pelosi because those rules don't apply to her. Those are just for the little people. She says, so she gets to go to the salon, gets to take her mask off, go inside in the AC where it's nice and comfortable, But somehow those rules don't apply to her.
Let me get this straight. So you can go get your hair did, but you can't go inside. The salon is technically closed.
The salon is closed.
But you could get a hose and a 5-gallon bucket, and you could get your hair washed and cut.
Yes, outside.
Okay.
Gotta do it outside with a mask.
And I'll say this, that there comes with the level of congresswoman that she's achieved, and she's the Speaker of the House. She's not just a normal congresswoman. That comes with some perks, and I would fully expect that a salon in your district would do some sort of a perk for you. My problem came when she said that she took ownership of it. She's like, "Hey, it's on me. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have put him in that position." But now that I think about it, I was set up. I had my assistant call, and they said they were open, and they must have slipped the video footage to the New York Times and this and that. No, lady, you just said you owned it. Own it. Wear it. You screwed up. Wear it.
So your beef is that after it coming out and issuing an apology, she blamed it on hey, I was set up.
Yes. Now you're blaming the poor salon owner. Who, by the way, if a congresswoman or congressman called me and said, "Hey, I need to come to your house, whatever, I want to have dinner," but yet there was restrictions that said this and that, I would feel like that was my obligation, right? So it was like I would be. It must be okay if the congressperson or the assistant for the congressperson is calling me saying we need to do this. I feel like I'm absolved of all crime, right?
Yeah. I get what you're coming from.
And this is the same thing that these people, Nancy Pelosi specifically, was telling us was the problem with the Me Too movement. That people in power were taking advantage of little people, specifically producers and movie writers and people like Jeffrey Epstein, and putting young women in positions of vulnerability, or taking women from positions of vulnerability and using their power against them. That's exactly what happened. Going back to the hypocrite thing, don't stand there and tell me that you're against this and that's a horrible thing when you're doing the exact same thing. It wasn't sexually related, but it was using your power to benefit yourself.
Okay, so here's my 2 cents. One, I'll be honest, I don't have any problems with this lady getting her hair done. I don't know if you've seen her recently. This is not an attractive woman.
No.
All right. I mean, I hate to be that guy. We'll probably get banned from YouTube for me saying that. But like Cliff said, when the barn door needs painting.
And more nude 2x4s and
you know what I'm saying? I mean, here what I would say, and I don't, you guys clearly have watched much more news than I have. But my beef here would be if all the salons in the area are closed. That's the problem I got, I think. It's not that you were there and didn't wear a mask. Mine would be more that, hey, all of these salons are closed, but this one's open for you.
When was the last time you've been to it?
Ask that hairdresser to come. And here's the thing. I mean, let's be honest. There was 10 people in my house yesterday. None of us had masks on. So this isn't about a mask. You know what I'm saying? But it's about those other businesses being closed. And apparently, the way I would take that is if it's okay for her to go and get her hair done, open up all the salons.
Right. Absolutely. Right. There are people. I mean, there are people out there. They need to work. That's really what it's about. It's about jobs at this point. These people, they need to work. And this is what they've gone to school for. This is what they've trained for. And now they're being told they can't do their jobs, not effectively.
Yep. But the bottom line is this, in my opinion, this is dirty politics. Okay. I mean, like I'm for one getting a little bit like this is the crap that we will stoop to in the media to make somebody look bad or to influence an election or something is beginning to get absurd. You know,
that was the other big story this week from the Atlantic was that President Trump said some disparaging things about some deceased soldiers when he was on a tour in, I think it was France somewhere. The anonymous reports, right, which bothers me to no end, come out there. You know, who is this? Put your name on it, right? You think this is such an egregious crime, but you're not going to put your name on it?
Yeah,
own it. Say that he said it was losers and another word I can't remember what he said, but the fact that the whole point with him is the fact that some people are going to instantly think absolutely he said it. There's no doubt in my mind he didn't say that. Matter of fact, he probably thinks it every second of every day. And there's some people that there's no way he said it.
You know, Pooh Bear, the argument I make on that is it's not just him. You know, it doesn't matter who the subject. It doesn't matter who the subject is. You know, I mean, we have somebody that we all know that recently has served in the House of Representatives that lost a bid for re-election largely because of a lawsuit placed against him by his opponent. After the election, it was dismissed because there was zero credible evidence.
Right.
But essentially, it cost him an election.
So, do you guys remember the movie Mr. Smith Goes to Hollywood? Jimmy Stewart. He's probably in the 40s or 50s, late 50s, maybe late 40s, early 50s. He's a good guy. He goes. I say Hollywood goes to Washington. Mr. Smith goes to Washington.
Goes to Washington.
Yeah. Okay. So he goes black and white film. He goes to Washington. Tries to make some changes. He's a good, honest guy, and the political machine just rolls over him. They make up stuff against him, and he's like, "Dude, I can't do this. This isn't for me." He has to leave. Right. So the point to that is that it hasn't gotten any better. I mean, that movie is at least 50 years old, probably more like, if I carry the one, maybe 70 years old almost. I mean, it's been around for bad politics. Have been around for a long time, and I don't know how to fix it.
The difference today, Chief, is that with media being so prevalent in our lives, I mean, media device right there at your handheld, right? That more people are being exposed to it, and they make their decisions based on what they see,
right?
Instead of doing some due diligence themselves, they are influenced by opinion. And I think that's where it's going bad for our country. Average, I don't think, and it's not about the average American being smart enough or not smart enough to figure it out. I think it comes down to a lot of times we don't have the time. Right. Somebody sees a headline about something, and because it was on a major news outlet or whatever, we just assume it to be true. And we don't go and do any follow up to make sure, was it true or is it not? All right. Well, and then I've made the argument on this show before that today, your major news outlets, your Fox News, your CNN, your NBC, whatever you want to call them all, listen, they all get paid based on ratings.
Mm-hmm.
These are entertainers, not news desks, right? So when you're watching that, and by the way, here too on the main event, this is our opinion. Correct. Do not take everything that we say as fact.
Right.
Well, what I want to hear, I really don't. I want to hear my opinion coming from your mouth. That's really what I prefer to hear.
Well, of course,
and that's what everybody else wants to hear.
It's called confirmation bias. That's what most people do. They look at the source that's feeding them the information, and they digest the information and say, I like this source, I trust the source, and I agree with what the source is saying. And therefore that is now my opinion. Right. And that's a lazy society we've become, which leads me into my rant. If I can go into that. this
Let
week,
me just sit back.
I was listening to the radio, and the lead singer for Imagine Dragons came on an advertisement. Right, Imagine Dragons is a big band, and the advertisement was for, I can't remember, Rock the Vote or Yes We Vote, something of that sorts. And this guy says, I think he even used the words verbatim, I don't care who you vote for, just go vote. Right. And it started bothering me. I'm like, we don't do that with any other active right. Right. So in the Bill of Rights, most of those rights are for things that you don't have to participate in, right to speedy trial, right to not have the soldiers quartered at your house, the on and on. But the only two really that have an action behind them are the First Amendment with the 5 protections there and the Second Amendment. And we don't encourage people who aren't familiar with firearms to just go buy a gun, right? We don't say, hey, you know what? It's your right. Just go buy a gun. I don't care what you buy. I don't care if you know a revolver from a bolt action rifle. Just go buy something, right? Nobody says that. Nobody says, hey, go out in the street and protest something. Nobody says, hey, I don't care what God you worship, just go worship. We don't say that. We don't encourage people to do those things because there's a responsibility behind them all. I wouldn't suggest someone that has never been familiar with firearms to go buy a firearm until they took the responsibility to go and be responsible with the firearm. Learn the rules, learn how to load it, learn how to shoot it, learn how to care for it, learn where to store it, right? Same thing with a protest. You're bad about something. You want to petition the government or go protest? Let me hear it. Learn about your side, then go petition the government. Hey, I don't like what's going on. I'm going to write my congressman. You're not going to write him a letter and say, hey, here's what I had for lunch today. You're going to tell him, I'm mad because of this. That's petitioning the government, and you have a thought out plan. You don't go into the voting booth and just start ticking off boxes.
I think that's exactly what people do.
I know they do, but that's
even if once they get past the president, they go down to your local officials. Really, those are the guys that have the most impact on your life. I mean, Donald Trump doesn't really have a huge impact on my personal life, but the county commissioners do. And if I were to get in trouble, those judges probably do. That are on it. So, do you research the judges? Because I know when I go in there, if I don't know who the judges are and I didn't research them, I just skip them.
Yeah, sometimes I don't.
Yes, I'm the same as you. If I don't know what I'm voting on or who I'm voting, I just skip. I don't vote at all. And I think one of my pet peeves is, we get these ballots nowadays that have 5-6 amendments on them.
Yep.
Right. And my belief is that a lot of people go into that voting booth and they have no clue about any of those 5 amendments.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
And yet they vote one way or another and they have zero idea what they're actually voting on.
Yep. So now we've taken that a step further. Now we have actual campaigns from entertainers telling us, just go do something. It doesn't matter. Just go. And I'm arguing, no, we need to stop them and say, no, be responsible. That the message is not just go. The message is learn, educate yourself, and then go. Right? Here's what Ryan's got to say.
Yeah, no, he's right.
He's right. Yep.
I'll take the entertainment thing a step further because an actor is a pretender. Okay, I mean, I like Tom Hanks, but he's not an astronaut. He only knows about you know what I'm saying. Schwarzenegger, by the way, is not a soldier, or an alien killer. And so these guys are pretenders. They just pretend to do this stuff, But so how are they really informed? I mean, how much? I have no idea. So people like them. They're good actors, they're good pretenders, occupy my time for a few minutes today. I enjoy it. But why am I going to let that guy tell me how to vote?
Right. Well, it's reverse marketing. So when I was a kid, being on the front of the Wheaties box was a big deal. Right. Yeah. I remember when Bruce Jenner.
Wow.
was pictured, to make sure I got his name right. Was pictured on the Wheaties box. And the inference there was, if you eat Wheaties, you could be a decathlete. You
can be like Bruce.
Right.
Yes.
Right?
Be like Bruce. Wow.
So now we've reversed that. We're saying, here I am. I'm famous for being the latest blockbuster, do what I say and you can be like me. Right? That's kind of what's turned into without the payday. Wheaties was paying Bruce Jenner to be on the box because they wanted people to pick up the box and say, "Oh wow, I want to be like Bruce." Now they're just doing their philosophies and their ideas and their ideologies. They're pushing it on you, saying, "Here, do like me, be like me."
America, get educated. Be careful who you let influence you.
Indeed.
Be you. Be you. All right, so enough about that, right? This is the last Sunday without NFL football.
Oh my gosh.
February? Until January?
The NFL season kicks off this Thursday night with your defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs versus a newly paid quarterback from Houston and the Texans Thursday night. He got paid today, ladies and gentlemen.
I think Deshaun Watson is also the quarterback of my fantasy football team in the Man Event.
The Man Event League. He's the second highest paid player in the league now, by the way. I saw today, Deshaun Watson.
What did they pay him?
Mahomes, right?
They're paying him something like a 4-year extension worth almost $112 million.
Wow. And that puts him behind Mahomes, and that's the opponent for Thursday.
Yeah.
Wow. So they're going to have $250 million just in quarterbacks on the field.
Yeah.
Listen, go ahead. Go ahead, Chief.
No, go ahead.
Is this one of the most anticipated football seasons in recent years?
Oh my gosh, we need it.
I think partly because we haven't seen a single snap. There was no preseason.
We're starving.
Well, we're starving, but we're huge football fans. But like Google searches for NFL are way down, and for all teams they are way down. And I think that by and large, the general public is kind of on the outside looking in at the NFL season right now because there has been no preseason. There's been no hype. I know like local TV stations have tried to amp up training camp, but I mean, how much can you do now they're inside? You can't go to, you never could. Well, you couldn't go to training camp, this year, but even this time last year, you couldn't have gone, they would have locked us out. So at least you had preseason games to kind of get you amped, and those didn't happen. And I think the NFL has noticed that.
Yeah. And I think there's a large segment of football watchers that are essentially opposite of us. I mean, we live and breathe this stuff. We love football. We're involved. We're following these guys on social media. We know what's going on. There's a segment of our society that watches football that maybe not even sure football is even going to be on this year because they're not paying that close of attention. Right.
Yeah.
There's people out there in my office at work, and they'll say things like, oh, there's a game today. How do you not know that?
I know people like that say that on Super Bowl Sunday too. They're like, today.
Right.
I'm like, where have you been living? I mean, how do you?
There you go. But they will sit and watch it if given the opportunity. They just don't. They're not looking for the news to find out.
Yeah. Listen, I think that the lack of a preseason certainly was a big deal, and it provided a whole lot less news too. I feel like you've watched on, a lot of these sports networks over the years. There was a lot of ramp up to the NFL season too, especially on the fantasy side. Mm-hmm. Fantasy football is massive. And those couple of preseason games give a little bit of an insight as to maybe what kind of offense a team is going to run, who looks good, who doesn't. And I know for the most part, these starters, they get a couple of snaps in the first, 2 preseason games. And then a lot of them don't play in game 3 or in game 4. Right. The other thing that affects is, a lot of these players that will eventually catch on a practice squad somewhere. With the lack of preseason games, there's no tape on any of those folks, especially the rookies. No tape on any of those rookies in a game situation. So it could be interesting, but I tell you, one of the things that I'm encouraged by is, we're not seeing a lot of COVID news in NFL camps.
Right.
Which, is surprising when you consider they're not bubbled like that one league that one league that
that will put
play
Chief to sleep.
that the guys play, March Madness before they go to that league.
They bounce the things.
Dude, I'm getting tired already.
I think the biggest COVID news out of the NFL was the fact they had all those false positive tests.
Oh yes,
that was probably the biggest news related to COVID in the NFL.
Yeah. And I mean, really, when you look around all of the major sports teams, I mean, other than baseball had a pretty big outbreak at the beginning, I think they narrowed that down to a couple of players who, quite possibly could have ruined it for everybody with some poor decision making and poor behavior,
irresponsible behavior.
Irresponsible. That's what I was looking for. Thanks, Pooh Bear. In the other major leagues, you're not seeing a whole, a lot. I think I saw one driver in NASCAR recently and maybe one pro golfer that didn't pass tests leading into, the weekend festivities. But, and that could be a sign that this whole thing's slowing down a little bit too. What do we know? But
I think it has slowed down, but I think these guys have, the agents, the coaches, the owners have all shown the guys, they've been made examples of, early on, baseball players, soccer players, didn't really take off like I thought it might, but anyway, they said, hey, look, don't do this. Don't be like this guy, because he's out and the next guy up is in.
Right.
So I think they may have heard, hopefully they've heard that message.
Listen, before we get too deep in football, I've got to mention that the next Man Event short comes out this week.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. Pooh Bear hasn't even started working on it yet.
Haven't even started.
We might have to, fire our editor. But
cut his pay.
Anyways, I know. You get a half a penny now. So, or I guess if you cut your pay in half, that means you have to contribute less. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, I like that idea.
No, that's not fair. What that means,
I like that idea.
That's not a great idea.
So the next Man Event short.
Spitballing.
Yeah, the next Man Event short is football based. I'm sure you will love it. I will put some teasers out this week on social media of what to kind of expect for that. But there is going to be some breaking and shocking news in that short.
I think we could go on and say this is our most expensive. This is the highest budget.
For sure.
This is the highest budget. We can do that.
It would have been the highest budget just based on the catering budget.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Oh, I don't know about that. Steak day was kind of expensive when it came to food.
Yeah, steak day was expensive.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
yeah, but steak day was also delicious.
Well, since we are on the eve of the NFL season, metaphorically speaking, we should do some bold predictions, like we did for the MLB for baseball. Do you guys have some bold predictions ready to roll?
Well, I don't know what you're going to ask me yet, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to,
I will
come
share
up with on the fly.
What I want to see, what I wrote down was I wrote a bold prediction for the league overall, and then I wrote one for the Buccaneers specifically, since that happens to be our favorite team. So I'll start with the league-wide one. I believe, and I believe it's going to be a shock if it happens, that the Patriots will finish last in the AFC East for the first time since I don't know when.
I don't know if that's so much of a bold prediction.
Well, think about it.
It's not like you picked the Steelers.
Well, what that means though is that the Dolphins are going to finish over them, and the Jets are going to finish over them.
Do the Dolphins have a quarterback right now?
They just
Fitzpatrick.
No.
Down.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tua Tagovailoa is their quarterback.
Oh, is he going to be the starting quarterback?
You guys forget. Well, yeah, they just got loose Josh Rosen. I just said like 5 minutes ago that we live and breathe football, and you guys are embarrassing yourselves. Stop it.
Well, I mean, the chief also was just sharing with us that there hasn't been a whole lot of news on football because of the lack of preseason.
Right. Yeah. No, so I looked at their schedule. They have to play the NFC West, right, which consists of the Niners, the Seahawks. They're also going to be playing the Ravens. Yeah, they're playing the Ravens. They're playing the Texans. They're playing the Chiefs, the Cardinals, the Rams.
They're playing me?
Yeah, that is a tough schedule.
I'm going to need some help.
They have an incredibly tough schedule. They have a quarterback who did not finish his last season as a starter.
And wore a dress the last time we saw him in a post-game conference.
Freaking dresses.
That's true, man.
I think your wives wore better hats for Derby Day than he wore for his last press conference.
He wore a dress
and a hat, a bonnet. He wore a bonnet. So I think it's going to shock the world when the Patriots finish last in the East this season.
Shock. I don't know if it's a shock.
I think it is. I can't remember the last time they finished. They finished not first or second, because the Bills won. I think were the last ones to win the East. Maybe
I'm ready for mine.
Hold on, he's got two, right? He's got. Wait, what was the Buccaneers? Are we gonna?
We'll go back around.
All right, go ahead.
League-wide
NFL. Mine is Jameis Winston.
Ooh, mine involves Jameis Winston too.
Will take a significant amount of snaps for the New Orleans Saints.
So you think Drew Brees will be hurt?
I think he'll get hurt.
Okay.
Drew will get hurt, and Jameis will be forced into action.
Now, the other part of that is that's going to be over Taysom Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. That is bold.
That's a bold prediction. That's not a layup. That's not
bold.
A layup like the New England Patriots are going to be losers.
God. That's a strong one.
That's a layup.
That's a strong one. It's the Patriots. When was the last time they lost anything? They just won the Super Bowl like a week ago. I mean, come on.
Hey, I'm going to start with. I'm not going to go because I'm going to have to reverse mine. So mine are my first one's about the Buccaneers. Okay,
that's code for I need to research it.
No. I got it right here because mine has to do with Jameis Winston. You know, B-Love may have just handed this to me because I have predicted, that the Saints will throw 3 interceptions on week 1. Now I was thinking it was going to be Drew Brees throwing 3 interceptions on week 1, but it makes a lot more sense to me that Drew Brees gets hurt on the first drive, Jameis Winston steps in, and boom, there's our man. That's our guy right there.
Hey,
so wow,
he'll put one in our win column.
Number one.
If one of them's a pick 6, that would really make the Bucs happy.
Oh, listen, the last pass that Jameis Winston threw was a pick 6.
Yeah, it was a touchdown, all right. It was a touchdown.
The first pass Jameis Winston threw as a professional was also a pick 6.
Yeah, He threw a bunch of them too.
The guy. Between. Mental stats. All right, so let me go with my Buccaneer specific bowl prediction. And I'm going all in on this guy. And I think you guys already know where I'm going with this. But I drafted this guy in the 4th round. I'm so confident this is about to happen. But by the time the NFL season is over, Scotty Miller will lead the league in touchdowns.
Oh, my gosh.
Most of you right now are out there saying
everybody's going, who's Scotty Miller?
Who the flim flam is Scott Miller?
I know who Scotty Miller is. He's the Tampa version of Edelman. But here's the that's not going to happen, man.
Oh, this is rude right here.
That is not going to happen. No.
Look at this guy, Coach Flimpenstick right here.
What is this, Coach?
Mucking food.
First pass next time. No, that's not going to happen either, man.
So you guys aren't in on the now. Why that makes it a bold prediction, right?
Oh yeah, it's bold prediction.
That's bold. That's bold. I'm not in on that.
Bold.
Now, Pooh Bear. In this instance, I would give you. He might lead the team in receptions, not yards, but he could lead the team in receptions. But it won't be touchdowns.
No, not when you've got O.J. Howard and the Gronk out there and Mike Evans.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a look. You may understand this because there's a lot of free space up high. And
with all that being said, you just kind of made my argument. So like 6 touchdowns is going to win the team lead in touchdowns.
No,
right?
no,
so
no.
with all that
6
spread
is not
out,
going to win.
Why not? What did Evans have last year?
Dude, I guarantee someone we're going to have. It's going
to have a 10
to 12
touchdown
at least. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and his name will be Scott Miller.
Well, you know what? I hope it is.
Me too.
I hope you're right because that means these other guys.
Genius.
Yes.
Scott Miller will be my friend forever.
I hope you're writing these down.
He'll be right here, buddy.
Are you writing ours down too?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Chief, I'm going to let you go next.
Okay. I say that there will be fans at the Super Bowl. And I'm not talking every seat, packed house, 100,000 people in a 70,000 seat stadium. Packed out, sold out. That means
I'll
we're
go with
COVID
that.
free.
You think that's really that bold?
I think it could be right. I was going for most right at that point.
No, I mean, yeah, it's probably likely to happen.
Here's the deal. Week 1, there will be no fans in the stadium. So by the end of this, I'm saying it's going to be full.
Yeah, week 1 and week 2, they've already said not going to happen. Yep. They will reevaluate for week 3. So once that happens, then it's every week after that's going to be fans. So, all right, I like it.
All right, bold predictions for the Buccaneers. I'm going defense. Ndamukong Suh will lead the league in sacks.
Wow.
Ooh, over Shaq Barrett. Shaq Barrett did last year. He was the league leader in sacks in 2019.
Barrett is going to have a harder time getting through the line this year.
Okay. I'm writing this down.
Bold prediction.
Ndamukong Suh doesn't play every down. He's a 2-down player, 2 out of 4 downs. That's going to be a tough one to come out. You know what? If that's happening, that means that we are shutting down the run game for sure. Or that means every team is out there in they're in pass mode only because they're so far behind.
Right.
Yeah, they're in chuck it mode. They're in chuck it mode.
Exactly, chuck it mode. I like it.
All right, so let me make sure I have this right. So I wrote this down. Chief, you said there will be fans of the Super Bowl, and Jameis Winston will throw 3 picks week 1.
The Saints throw 3 picks. It could be any combination of the quarterbacks that they've got.
Oh, now he's reel it in.
I'm just saying that it could. I'm just saying it could be putting Winston on week 1 when he's not the starter. That's that would be a real bold prediction.
All right, and then B Love, you said Ndamukong Suh will lead the league in sacks, and that Jameis Winston will be the starter.
Yes, he will end the season as the starter.
Whew. That is bad news for.
I believe what I said is that he would throw a significant number of.
We're going to write it down as the starter.
Anyway, so listen, this is likely. I mean, serious question: is this a more anticipated season for the Buccaneers than in their Super Bowl run years?
Yeah, because during the Super Bowl run years, which was 2002, 2003, we had best defense in the entire NFL, and we had an okay offense. I mean, our offense wasn't really tearing it up. We were winning games because we were eliminating the other team from scoring, any points or very few points. This is a defense that can play and an offense that's going to win.
All right, we need to block this guy.
John, you're fired.
Block.
This is negativity.
Wow.
I mean,
why would you bring that here?
He starts off with positivity, then he brings
then he brings it right down.
Why would you bring that here?
Maybe that's his bold prediction. I'm going to put John's bold prediction down.
John's bold prediction: the Bucs lose to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
So, Chief, you're saying that this is the most anticipated season in Buccaneers team history?
I think so. Well, first of all, I mean, this is the first time. I mean, when have we ever had a quarterback to rally behind? I mean, we drafted Vinny Testaverde, first draft overall. That didn't really work out so well, and we had, some other, big draft picks also that didn't work out so well.
Bo Jackson.
Thank you. That's what I was thinking of. Bo doesn't know how to play in Tampa. So
nope.
Yeah.
All right, John's redeeming himself a little bit. He's just
all right.
Realistic.
We'll let you stick around, John.
Not fired.
Yeah, I think this is the most. I agree with you, Chief. I think this is the most anticipated season in Buccaneers history.
Yeah.
Man, I got to tell you, like I cannot wait for Sunday. I mean, we haven't seen Tom Brady drop back in the pocket yet in a Tampa Bay uniform.
Right.
We have no idea what to expect.
Right.
I know what I expect. I expect touchdowns and a lot of completions, and I don't expect to see too many interceptions.
A lot of cannon fire.
Oh my God!
All right, so this has been an off season unlike any other for the Buccaneers. They spent a ton of money. We re-signed a bunch of those guys on defense: JPP, Shaq Barrett, Ndamukong Suh. A lot of those guys were working on 1-year deals. They proved themselves last year. Yep. We paid them to come back. We get Tom Brady. We get Gronk. Recently, you signed LaShawn McCoy and Fournette within weeks of each other. And, Chief, your response this week to us was, I like to win and all, but now it just feels like we're buying a winning season.
Exactly. That's exactly what it feels like. I mean, we haven't grown up with these guys. We haven't farmed them. We haven't matured them. We haven't watched them go from, second string to first string. All we're doing at this point is we're just bringing in, studs. We're bringing these studs in and saying, hey, go for it. And I like to win as much as the next guy, but it doesn't really feel like a true Tampa team to me. Maybe
so you're saying, you're saying this is not okay?
I don't think this is the way. I mean, this is like the Marlins of the what year they had the Marlins win the
they won the World Series.
Late 90s. There we go. Late 90s, And then they disbanded the team the next year, and the Marlins have been bad ever since. I don't want to be, what I want to be? I want to be, I can't believe I'm going to say it like this. I want to say I want to be the New England Patriots from 10 years ago. I want to be a dynasty. I don't want to be a one-shot wonder.
But Chief, you got to understand, when you sign a 43-year-old quarterback to a 2-year deal, you've got to push all your chips in.
No, I hear you, but it's so, okay. The one thing that'll make this okay is if Blaine Gabbert and Mike Evans and Godwin are on the offensive side of the ball and the offensive linemen, if they're sitting back and learning from Brady, they're saying, look, running a route at 88% isn't good enough for the NFL. You got to run this thing, 100% every time. It's got to be crisp. It's got to be on target, because by the time you cut, the ball's already in the air. You've got to do it right every time. So if they're learning that, if they're learning how to be a professional football team, a real competitive professional football team, I'm okay with it. By the way, Bruce Arians, no spring chicken either. Late 60s.
Right.
I don't expect him to be around for too long.
Neither is Blaine Gabbert, though, right? I mean,
no, I'm not blaming Gabbert. I'm saying that you got the GOAT out there, and he's showing you what it takes to be a champion over and over again. And if these guys are learning that lesson, I'm okay with him being here for 1, maybe 2 years. But
Chief,
the other side of the ball, with Ndamukong Suh was dominant on the defensive line for a decade, and now his time's coming up. If you've got guys that are out there that are willing to learn from him and say, this is what it takes, to dominate a defensive line, then I'm okay with these guys coming back for 1 year. But they got to leave something behind, and that something behind are the other players that are younger that are just coming up.
Now, Chief, I'm not going to disagree with you, but in the same token, we don't have a quarterback of tomorrow on the roster.
Oh, Blaine Gabbert is a quarterback of tomorrow.
How old is Blaine Gabbert?
Blaine, if you remember last year, he had an amazing preseason, and then I think he got the start in the fourth game, and they were talking. I mean, he had played, really, really well, and then he broke his leg, broke his arm, he broke something. I can't remember exactly, but it's like the first game, the first play of the game, and he was out for the rest of the season. We haven't seen him this year.
I've never looked at Blaine Gabbert as the quarterback of the future for this team. They don't have one on the roster.
I think this is like his 5th team, so he's clearly not the quarterback of the future.
He's no spring chicken, but I agree with you. And hey, let's let Brady come in and teach these guys how to be NFL professionals,
right?
But there's no quarterback. There's no Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers here.
Wow. Listen, John, he's only like the Chief if he complains about it. He's going to have to complain about it for all 3 weeks and then get hurt.
The fact is, I'm already hurt. I get out of bed hurt in the morning. It's just a matter of if I can get through it or not.
He's probably not wrong, but I think that's why you see the depth the Bucs have set up for, because of things like that. But here's what I'll say about the buying a team in this culture of franchises and the way, and this is not just football specific. This is the same way it is with baseball. You have to have a mixture of that. So you have your homegrown talent. You have your Mike Evanses, your Chris Godwins, your Devin Whites, your Levante Davids, the guys that you drafted, nurtured, used in your system, but then you add the pieces in, right? So you've got those 2 linebackers. Well, you bring in Shaq. You took a chance on Shaq Barrett, who was cut by Seattle
Yeah.
You bring him in, and then he flourishes in your system. You complement Vita Vea, who you drafted as your nose tackle, with an Ndamukong Suh, right? So you have those pieces that you mix and match. You have your homegrown, then you bring in the pieces. So they brought in Brady as a free agent. That clearly was a purchase. That was a shiny object. They said, we need that. It's better than what we have. Let's get it. They spent what they were the highest bidder to get him. All those other pieces kind of fell in their lap. Gronk was not going to play anywhere else without Brady. He was not going back to New England. He was in retirement. And for all intents and purposes, you tell me that, hey, your tight end was just in retirement and you signed him. Like, well, he's probably just going to be a backup. He might be a valuable piece in this offense. We're hoping he is. We hope he lasts longer than 3 weeks. The McCoy thing, again, he was on the Chiefs last year, won a Super Bowl. They cut him. He's at the tail end of his career. He's just a fill-in piece, right? He's just an adder. He's not going to be a projected major cog in this machine. Same thing with Fournette. Again, the guy's numbers are not good. He sounds good because he was awesome his first year. I'm not sure how many yards he's gained since the first year.
It's not many. $3.5 million.
Yeah, he's got to do something.
Well, the Jaguars are paying most of that. We didn't pay him hardly anything. The Bucs didn't pay him hardly anything. So my point being that, it's not as if that the team was seeking out these pieces to fill their puzzle. It was more or less, this is just chips falling because of the GOAT being here, right? Brady's here. These players are looking at you, hey, I might not have but a year or two left. This guy's about to win it all. I'm signing with this team.
So how about this? Fournette signs for 1 year?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay, over $3 million for 1 year. Ronald Jones is supposed to be the starting quarterback. He's going to make $1.7 million this year. So he's getting half the pay and all the work.
Right, and he's already been named the starter.
Yeah, so, I mean, how does that work out for the guy? He's –
You signed the contract.
Well, when you paid him to be our starting running back, we didn't have Fournette.
No, we didn't.
When they put the paper down and said, Ronald, do you agree to play for this money? He said, well, only if Fournette's not going to be here. I mean, he said, I'll play for that.
You don't think that's going to create some sort of controversy in the locker room at some point when Fournette is sitting there, just killing it on the sideline? Ronald Jones can barely walk on Monday morning, all bruised up.
Yeah, personally, I don't think Fournette's going to do that, but okay. I don't think he's going to play a major role at all. I think you're going to see him.
That's what I'm saying. He's going to be on the sideline. He's going to make his money.
I don't know. Here's what we've seen out of Bruce Arians so far is he's a 2 running back guy. One guy's going to play the first half and the other guy's going to play the second. We've seen that in every game this guy has coached.
And it happens on every team too. There's very few teams that have a dedicated starting running back like you used to see in the 90s.
I mean, listen, back in the 90s, to your point, Pooh Bear, you drafted running backs first overall.
Correct.
Today, you draft running backs in the 2nd and 3rd round.
Right. And you better draft about 6 of them because they're going to be
They're going to get hurt.
They're going to get platooned and they're going to be hurt. And not to mention the average lifespan of an NFL running back is 3 years? So this is Fournette's 4th year, I believe. He's already played 3 years in the NFL. He's only gained 2,000 yards in 3 years.
Listen, speaking of running backs,
most of all that was in the first year.
Did you guys see that after Adrian Peterson got cut by the Redskins, he got picked up today?
Yeah. And he was cut by the Washington football team, sir.
Yeah, exactly.
You can take your racist language out of here.
Yeah, my apologies. My apologies.
Right? Because to be silent during a racist rant is to be racist. That will not be me.
My apologies. Where are the Bucs at salary cap space wise?
They're
$15,000. No, they can sign me. I'll play for $15,000.
You'll play for $15,000. Hey, I'll go kick $1,000 a game.
Yes,
dude. But I want on my jersey instead of Lovell, I want the man event.
Yes,
on the back of my jersey.
We might get to 101 subscribers that way.
101. Yes. Hit 100 today, boys.
We hit 100 today, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you that aren't subscribed and watching on YouTube, it was a huge moment for us. I high-fived my wife when I got the text that we hit our 100th subscriber. It was actually
only 900 to go.
That's it.
I hear I understand from here it just snowballs.
That's what they tell me.
Well,
You know. Well, listen, I will tell you this: it is a good time to be a Tampa Bay sports fan.
You got that right.
All we legit could
teams.
run. We legit could run a Stanley Cup, a World Series, and a Super Bowl in the same calendar year. That could happen.
That's pretty.
Title Town.
I'm looking forward to
Title Town, USA.
Dude, I mean, another week closer, really, with the Lightning.
Yeah. So you see the Lightning, they kick off what, Monday or Tuesday, Pooh Bear?
Eastern Conference Final starts tomorrow night against the Islanders.
Tomorrow. And
Vegas, listen, this is a tough matchup.
In Vegas have the Lightning as the favorite to take it all.
This is going to be a tough matchup for the Lightning. I'll tell you this. The thing to look for is how well they're getting the rebounds or the rebounds are getting cleared. So one thing that the Islanders are really good at is their attack zone. When they're attacking, they're not the finesse shooters. They're the kind of the gritty shooter, which is what has always plagued the Lightning, at least under John Cooper. The guys that can get in there, they'll slap a slap shot right off the goalie's pad on purpose to get the rebound, and the next guy comes up and shoots it up top shelf, right? That's their bread and butter. And the Lightning have traditionally have not been good with clearing those pucks out. And on the attacking zone for the Lightning, they're good with sniping from one of the circles. That's, Kucherov and Stamkos, when he's healthy, that's where they like to shoot from. And when you do that and you get the rebound, instead of your player getting it and flipping it in like the Islanders do, their defense is good at sweeping it away and getting it out and clearing it. So that's going to be the aspect of the game to watch out for. From that's the Pooh Bear breakdown right there for the NHL Eastern Conference Finals.
Higher than man on the NHL channel. Hey, listen, I'm going to give you guys one last thing, and then Pooh Bear, if you can close us out. Has anybody watched Cobra Kai?
No.
All right.
You're alone.
So I can't.
Crickets.
So apparently Cobra Kai cannot be a topic on next week's Man Event.
If the editor would just insert the cricket noise right here.
Dude, it's all the rage.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear. So, all right, folks, we appreciate you hanging out with us tonight for this 1 hour Man Event live show. We had a good time. I hope you guys did too. We'll be back next week at 7 o'clock doing the same thing with the latest.
Time out.
Oh, wait,
time out. It's football season. It's a late game next week. I thought we were going to come on immediately after the game.
Immediately following the Buccaneers game, we go live.
Yes.
There you go. Live
whichever comes later, 7 p.m. or the end of the Bucs game.
It's going to be close.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So there you go. So immediately following the Buccaneers Saints on Fox, tune over to YouTube. That's what you need to do. That's what I hear. All right. So wherever you are, whatever you do, try not to suck.